Old Storehouse, Temple Bar area of Dublin. We'll be broadcasting here again on Friday. We're here yesterday, here today. Thursday, Leopardstown is where we'll be. Obviously, the Noles are beginning to file in mass. It's a glorious thing to see as you walk the streets of Dublin. Tom, I saw probably double what we saw yesterday, and I think I guess if you're looking for percentages, this is feeling a lot like 80-20 Noles to Tech.
It is, and the number of Noles
says the lone Georgia Tech fan in the corner.
Have the FCC find that guy. We don't need to get fined. But it's only growing in number. You can see it, even the cobblestone streets that I referenced yesterday, right outside this bar, the Old Storehouse. You can see Garnet walking by left and right. Many of them have stopped in now, and I've seen them in different parts of the Old Storehouse. There's all these little bars, little corner areas. Hopefully everybody here is enjoying their time so far. It's not even halfway over. It's not even halfway over. We've got several more days of fun times here ahead. And you just get caught up in the emotion of it. I like these happy hour shows, too. It's 1 o'clock back home midday. But when you get here, you want to be in a festive spirit. And I think a lot of folks here are right now.
I'd like to join them in the festivities. I
would, too.
But we have to.
There are rules. We cannot.
We have to wait momentarily. But that's all right. There's plenty of time to get to it, as you just alluded to. And for Florida State, the last of the preparations are done. They are on a plane. They're on their way over. They will land technically tomorrow here in Dublin. By the way, Georgia Tech and Florida State both arriving on Thursday. So no advantage for one or the other. As we talked about yesterday, some on the show, some folks thought that the Noles would get here a little bit earlier and get acclimated perhaps to not just the time change, but we always worry about the fields in a situation like this. It's for whatever reason, when you watch American football in Europe, you see a lot of slipping and sliding, usually in the first quarter. It's true of the NFL games. And in the NFL, they don't really leave anything up to chance. I mean, these teams are as prepared as they could be, and yet it still happens. So I imagine it might be a little sloppy early. First games are anyhow, both teams trying to feel each other out. I know you just did a deep dive, which is really fun. I want to talk about this, the premise being on what you found out with your Georgia Tech deep dive. And, something we already kind of knew. I talked to Brent Key in Charlotte, really enjoyed talking with him. He was open about what they're trying to do schematically, what they're trying to do offensively. But obviously you went back and watched some of that success that they had last year. I know Georgia Tech's offensive line is very, very good. This is something that I think is the biggest challenge for Florida State's defensive line in the sense that they're going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to be physical. So you're going to have to obviously not fall victim to eye candy and the kinds of motions and things that you probably witnessed in the videos going back and looking at.
Yeah, so the way their offense is run is very similar to the way that Mike Norvell runs an offense pre-last season. So think about Jordan Travis in his first couple of years at Florida State when he was more of a runner than a thrower, and all the eye candies and the wrinkles that Mike Norvell would employ to set up counter, to set up quarterback runs and read options and things of those natures. Well, Brent Key does that, and the offense at Georgia Tech does that in spades. You're talking about a lot of jet motions. You're talking about counter, triple option plays where there's a read option with a bubble element on the outside. Things you saw from Jordan Travis when Florida State won 10 games a couple of years ago is what Georgia Tech runs a lot of. Now, I do think our offense this year is a lot like the offense that we saw a couple of seasons ago in terms of the way we run the ball, the way we attack. So what's going to be interesting here is I think our defense just went through a camp with a lot of the same looks they're about to see from Georgia Tech. They're prepared for what Georgia Tech is going to bring to the table, but Tech runs it well. I mean, they didn't get a 1,000-yard rusher and an 800-yard running quarterback by accident. It's a very good scheme. They're well coached. They know what they're about, and they do have some speed on the edges as well, kind of like Florida State does. So it's not quite mirror images. Florida State has more talent, but the concepts that are going to be run by Georgia Tech on Saturday are very, very similar to what we run.
One of the things I brought up that I was worried about for this game, and it's, you don't want to paint a picture of doom and gloom because I think Florida State has the athletes to counter it.
Right.
But one of the things that I did worry about was you have new linebackers. You came into the season a year ago with Tatum Bethune, and he had played a ton of football and seen a lot of football and a lot of different looks. Kalen DeLoach, the same, had played a ton of football, seen a lot of different looks. You had that experience. DJ Lundy as well, guy that's played a lot of football. So I kind of felt like this whole thing where the linebackers would, as a veteran group, had seen a lot of different things. Now you got guys that have played some football. Obviously, bringing over Cam Riley, he's played a bunch of football. But, the other guys have not had to be relied upon.
Yeah.
Blake Nicholson played a lot for Florida State last year. He wasn't counted on to be the guy. Obviously, Justin Cryer, same type thing. Really wasn't counted on to be the guy. So that rotation will have to be smart. They will have to obviously understand their keys. They will have to know what they're looking at. Right before we left town, that's when install was going on for Georgia Tech and for Florida State. offense against Georgia Tech's defense and vice versa. And one of the things that they do in order to try to show that discipline or enforce that discipline is they hike two footballs simultaneously. One's a Nerf and one's a regular football. And they're trying to distract your eyes away from what your keys are, right? They want you to get distracted and not remember those things. And so they're desperately trying to be sure that these guys understand what they're seeing and what they're going to be looking at. You don't know, and this is the hard part for a defensive coordinator. We heard from Adam Fuller already. You don't know how they're going to react in a game situation. You know in practice because you can stop it and you can correct it and you can walk over and talk about it, and then you can show them on film that evening as you go over the review of practice. But a game situation with the adrenaline flowing and a team that does this, that executes it as their primary offense, is always going to run it faster than you can duplicate it in practice. So you really can't replicate things like this in a live scenario. The
good news is, though, our offense runs a lot of the same principles. So, while there are elements of almost a triple option that Georgia Tech runs, it's not the Paul Johnson triple option.
Not at all.
It's a read option with a bubble. There's a pass element to these triple options. Florida State runs a lot of the same thing. Usually when you see a defense have to catch up, it's because whatever they're seeing is not what they're practicing against Monday through Friday. Right. But at least in this case, Florida State should be up to speed there. It's just, again, Georgia Tech was committed to this thing, and they run the hell out of their quarterback. And Adam Fuller said as much on Monday when he spoke to the media is, look, when you're that willing to run your quarterback at any time, you put his body in peril. Sometimes teams want to protect a quarterback. See us last season. We only wanted to use Jordan in the key moments. Well, they say, the hell with that. Haynes King's going to run at any time, and you need to be ready for that. It changes the math, and the other thing it does is it almost forces you as a defender to play ignorant of what your other teammates are doing. You have your job. You better stick to your job, or else you're going to get burned and look silly.
When you talk to NFL players, and I've had a good amount of conversations with guys that went off to play in the NFL from Florida State and then came back. And I'm always trying to pick their brain about what is so different about the league besides bigger, stronger, faster. And one of the things they always bring up is the professionalism of doing your job. Yeah. And they talk about how if you don't in the league, you can get somebody killed. Because of the way that blocking schemes work for offense is everybody has got this assignment, right? And then I've got to fill, let's say, and I'm taking on a lead blocker. If I do not do it, that guy gets to the second level. This is a score. This is going to make me look bad on film. You didn't do your job, so I get exploited or I get my head knocked off because you didn't take on a blocker when you were supposed to.
That's how fights happen on the sideline.
That's exactly how fights happen on a sideline when you don't do your job. But relative to what we're talking about here, if you aren't understanding your keys and you do one false step here, and it's Jimbo's favorite phrase, out the gate. And that's why what you're talking about is so important. How quickly can you get acclimated? How quickly can you get the game to slow down? It always does. It always does, but it takes a few plays, sometimes an entire quarter, to get guys to settle in. You could be down 10-0. You could be down 14-0. So you've got to make sure early in this game you're not overhyped and that you're just paying attention to whatever that assignment is.
Well, and they return all their guys, too. That's the other thing. They know this offense. Quarterback's back. Their 1,000-yard rusher is back. 4 out of 5 of their offensive linemen are back for this year. I'm not trying to make it sound like Georgia Tech is a world beater of an offense, but they know what they do, and they know what they're about. And in their last regular season game last year against Georgia, that's 14-13 at the break. It's a close game. They ran for 200 yards on Georgia's defense. Now, that Bulldogs group was kind of like our 2014 Seminoles, and they were disinterested in some moments, but they also look silly. These are premier athletes who are in the wrong gap, whose eyes are in the wrong spot. Haynes King's first rushing touchdown in that game, he's untouched from 10 yards out. He's not that fast. You don't think a Georgia defender, if they were playing it honest, would put a hand on him? Yeah, of course they would, but their eyes were in the wrong place. And so there's a discipline test out of the gate here. And it's going to be a fun group to watch this year. It's going to be a fun group to judge for Florida State. But again, these new players in new spots at linebacker, your second safety next to Shaheem Brown, your slot corner, these are all new players in the rotation, and they're going to be tested in a unique way in game one.
And in a way, even in the interior, Darrell Jackson, talented as he is, didn't start last year, played very limited in bowl game, obviously. Now he's going to be counted on to be the guy. You've got, obviously, a rotation with him and Farmer that we're going to see mixed and matched. There'll be moments where the two of them are on the field, but probably not all that often because they're trying to use the veteran presence and the elite talent of each of those individuals in a staggered way that allows you, obviously, to put in some of the other backups.
You got to have a stud on the field at all times.
Yeah, that's kind of what they're going to do there. I think another element of this game, and I'm wondering when you wrote the article if this is something you thought about, Marvin Jones Jr.,
Okay.
I'm not worried about Patrick Payton. Patrick Payton has seen a lot. He's done a lot.
He's gotten a lot larger, too, when you're talking about stopping the run.
Yeah, setting the edge and doing those sorts of things. Marvin Jones Jr. has not had to play this role. He has not had to be this guy. He has not had to start for anybody. He is going to be asked to do so for Florida State. Is he prepared physically to take on the run? Because I think that's what the biggest question is. We know he can rush the passer.
Well,
I know Marvin can get after the passer. Can he set the edge and be disciplined and make tackles against the run?
This is why I'm happy that Florida State brought in more than just Marvin Jones Jr. and you have Sione Lolohea in the rotation. When you're facing a team that likes to primarily run the football, Lolohea is your better defensive end.
We think. We haven't seen Marvin have to do it.
Okay, fair, but their careers to this point,
sure.
Sione is more of a specialist to set the edge and stop the run.
Yeah, big kid.
He's trying to develop into a better pass rusher, but it's already known what he is at stopping the run. Marvin Jones Jr., we know, is explosive, and on third and obvious, he can make plays. The next wave for his game is to be tough enough, to be willing to be tough enough consistently, because Georgia Tech, look, man, they could get down 10 points in the first half of this game on Saturday. They're still going to run the football. They don't care. This is what they're about. Until it gets extremely obvious, they're going to be run first. They believe that's how they can get the ball down the field. So, again, at that position, I'll be interested to see what the snap count differential is between Marvin Jones Jr. and Lolohea. I think it's more of a Lolohea game. And for that matter, I wonder about Durajaye being out there maybe more at defensive end, maybe to set the edge. He's a combo lineman. This would be a situation where he would be needed a little bit more. How often would they roll a third linebacker out there versus how often do they believe that a Shaheem Brown or Earl Little around the line of scrimmage is a better idea? These are fascinating questions. It's not, again, 10 years ago in Paul Johnson's offense that you have to prepare for, but it's a unique one because while it has Mike Norvell's elements in it, they want to run it more than we want to run it. Like they're all about on the ground.
They'll stick with it.
They will.
They're not going to waver from it. To what you pointed out, when a team has an identity, they know what they are, they know what they're willing to do, and they know what they have to do in order to win. They cannot stray from it. This is why these types of teams are in big trouble if they get down early.
Yeah.
This is not an offense that's going to get down by 14 points to Florida State, spread it out, and start throwing it around the lot. They cannot do that. That's not who they are, and that's not what they'll do. So I think for Florida State, get off to a good start here. I might even think about taking the ball and if I won the toss and try to go right down the field and get a lead and play from ahead. Obviously, everybody wants to get a lead and play from ahead, but you could opt to take the ball here and chew up a lot of clock with your own running game and get Georgia Tech in a sort of a catch-up status.
Yeah, it set the pace of the game, and if they have to play catch-up the entire way, eventually they're going to have to come out of what they do. The other thing is, the good news is, when Haynes King is forced to throw the football, he's not that great. I mean, he's adequate. He can make a throw or two, but the throwing motion, I wrote in the article, it actually reminds me a little bit of a right-handed Tebow at times. It takes a while to get out there.
So hideous?
At times. He'll clean it up every once in a while, but a lot of his throws do look hideous. They take forever. The wind-up throw, there's a lot of effort to push the ball down the field. He doesn't have the natural arm that DJU has. Far from it. I would say he doesn't even have the natural arm that Jordan Travis had. So, again, when you look at what Haynes King put together in terms of a resume against opponents with a pulse defensively, he's usually completing somewhere between 50 and 55% of his passes. He's good for a pick or two a game. If you can get them in passing situations, you're going to profit. But the question is, how often are they going to be in 3rd and 8 or more? How often are they going to be in 2nd and 11? Or will they be ahead of the chain? So to me, there are some games where you think situational, red zone's going to matter here, third down's going to matter the most. I really think 1st and 2nd down are tremendously important in this game because if they're in obvious third down situations, man, tilt the field towards Florida State. Everything is in Florida State's favor at that point. But if it's 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3, you're in trouble. You could give up a touchdown when you're trying to stop a run.
The throws that you talk about are not something they want to fall back to.
No.
They want him to run the ball and create those sort of mismatches and you put a linebacker in, obviously, in some sort of trouble. He has to make a decision, and Haynes is a good enough athlete to make those guys miss.
Yep.
They don't want to be sitting back from the pocket on 3rd and 7 trying to complete passes down the field. Florida State will have a field day, to your point on that. The final Boomers Live at Leopardstown is taking place tomorrow. That is tomorrow, Thursday the 22nd. Enjoy the racetrack with us. We will be there. It's not just a racetrack with horse racing. They've got live music at Dublin's only racetrack. It's also one of these things where they partner with Aer Lingus, College Football Classic. There will be a whole ALC FC College Football Classic Village, where you can walk around, hang out, plenty of beers and different food to taste and all of that. We'll be there. Tickets are just $30. You can get them at Leopardstown, 30 euros, I should say. Leopardstown.com.
A little more expensive in dollars.
Yeah. Leopardstown.com. We'll be there. Free shuttle buses from Sandyford Green live before the racing. So that'll be tomorrow's show.
Sandyford Green. Remember that. If you're going to, it's free. Sandyford Green line.
Get on that shuttle. You go out to that track. I was there a year ago. It's an awesome, awesome setting. Not only are you gambling and betting on horses, if that's your cup of tea, and it is mine, you can also, with that village where you're walking around, there's food, there's drink, there's a great atmosphere. And then, of course, they also have...
It's like a block party.
Yeah, it's like a block party. And then there's live music. They have a big stage and everything else. So we'll be there tomorrow. And then Friday, we'll be right back here at the old storehouse starting at 6. And that'll run 6 until like 2 in the morning. That's going to be a big meet and greet and a good time. So live from Dublin, more of the Jeff Cameron Show momentarily here on 93.3 Go Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
The Jeff Cameron Show live from Dublin. We'll be right back. Sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your phones are down, call Crown.
Time. It's the one thing we never get back. We can't create it. We can't buy it. We can't store it somewhere. Once it's gone for good, which makes it the most valuable thing we have. The only real question is how we spend our time. So, how much time are you spending every day running in circles with a computer network using old software on old equipment that's wasting your time, that gets in the way and leaves you feeling angry and frustrated? Let's fix that. Call Crown Networking. They've been helping people just like you and I make the best use of their time for the last 20 years. Now is the time for you to make the call. Here's the number in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090, 999-0090, or online at crownnetworking.com. Oh, and talk to them about getting you a new phone system, too. You know, it's time.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816-186.
Park Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Park.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those storm leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Park Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Park Construction.com.
CCC 1331204.
Falmer's end of summer super sale is going on now. Through the close of business on August 31st, we drop prices on many of your favorite items. Save at least 30% on every TV, every bike, and all tools. Save 25% on car stereo and computers too. And every piece of jewelry, rings, bracelets, necklaces, earrings, pendants, everything marked down at least 50%, some items as much as 70% off. But hurry for your best choice. The end of summer super sale is happening now through Saturday, August 31st at both locations. Falmer's pawn, gun, sales, and check cashing, more than you might expect. This is Alex from Falmer. We've been buying gold and silver jewelry, fine watches, and other collectibles for over 45 years. But did you know Falmer's buys and sells gold and silver coins, bars, and bullion? Don't get scammed online or pay high shipping and handling fees. Call or stop by Falmer's for a quick and easy quote. No matter if you're new to investing in bullion or have been collecting a lifetime, Falmer's is your local source for buying, selling gold and silver coins and bullion. Falmer's, more than you might expect, with 2 great locations.
Science-backed, technology tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Rise and climb, Seminole Nation. It's game week, and it's time to chop down some Yellow Jackets. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin, sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your network's down, call Crown.
Welcome back to Jeff Cameron Show here at the Old Storehouse as we broadcast live in Dublin. A spirited crowd is with us. That is a good thing. That is a good thing. Good news indeed. Crown Networking, a big part of how we got over here as well. We thank them as they help sponsor the show. It's a lot to get over here and do all of this, so we appreciate them. Crown Networking brings you proven reliability and stability in cloud-based access control for your facility. This is a solution that every business is looking for with better functionality that hey, look, no more outdated ideas. Yep. Where your access control system is down, call Crown in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090. And all the way, by the way, Crown will make a donation to the Seminole Foundation for every new customer that signs up for their service this week. That's right. Crown will make a donation to the Seminole Foundation for every new customer that signs up for their service this week. That number, 850-999-0090. And away we go with segment 2. We were talking about this defense against Georgia Tech's offense. For Florida State's offense, it's a matter of how quickly they can establish the run. We already know that. We know that that is what they want to do. That is what they've been hell-bent on. That is what they've done a lot of in practice. The passing game came around nicely, I thought, in the final 10 days or so of practice, really the final 7 days that we saw. It was pretty good. Corey reported when he stayed behind for an extra day that it was good that day too. So real positive signs that the passing game got going off of that running game. We shall see, though. It is a little bit different against an opponent as opposed to practice where you can set circumstances up as opposed to a game.
Yeah, so what I do think, though, is I expect to see explosive plays in the passing game on Saturday. I'm walking into that stadium, I'm thinking, oh, no, are we going to be able to win one-on-ones? No, man, I think as long as you're successful on first and second down running the football, which we believe this group is going to be better at than they were last year, then Georgia Tech has to make a decision. I mean, their default decision might actually be to sell out against the run.
I would start every game I played against Florida State as an opposing team with the intention of shutting down the run because I would want to make DJ beat me.
Correct, but one thing that can beat you if you sell out against the run, and this is what Georgia, the Bulldogs did to open it up against Georgia Tech, is then you use your side-to-side speed in order to thin them out. Okay, so they might be very near to the line of scrimmage, but if you're going to use a Jalen Lucas or a Jalen Brown or a Malik Benson or a Toa Feely, we could go on. There's more players with big-time speed for Florida State. If you use them to get east-west, then at that point you do open up the passing game as well. I think the concepts for our passing game are going to be fine if married to what we think this offensive line is going to be. By nature, you're going to be in advantageous one-on-one situations, and it's not going to be Azaria Thomas and Fentrell Cypress that you're going against. So I do believe Florida State will have some chances to make some plays down the field, and I'm not talking about the bomb. I'm talking about throws over the middle of the field. I'm talking about mid-range shots. I think they're going to be open. You need to catch the ball, and DJ needs to not miss those throws in those situations. But I think that's where the oversaturation of watching this offense go against this defense in camp is a limiting factor. I think they're going to be okay there.
Don't you think? And it's a really interesting and big year for DJ, because I'm thinking that if you're a professional team and you're looking at DJ, right now DJ's nowhere close to a first-round draft. Nowhere close. Probably not second, maybe not third round. So he's a ways away. But he's got a chance to change some hearts and minds with a good season this year.
Yeah.
If he could really up that completion percentage, if he showed better decision-making on the run, he's made poor decisions when he's outside the pocket. When he chooses to throw, he's not terribly accurate in those situations, and he's made some tough decisions throughout his career that coaches would, in that situation, tell him to throw away. I'll give you a good example, though, and I thought it was a really good sign, and this is about maturity. DJ, I'll just say it was one of the practices pretty late in the game that we were at, got outside the pocket everything was covered. Everything was covered. It was one of those days where the defense was really having their way with the offense, and it was really a great day for Finshaw Cypress and a really great day for Azareae Thomas. And you saw him get outside the pocket, and I thought to myself, that's a tight, small window. If you want to throw back across your body, you might have been able to hit for about 13 yards. Instead, he threw the ball off the wall out of bounds. And Mike immediately started clapping, came running over and said, thank you. There it is. There it is.
Right.
Now, when you've got a good defense yourself, your quarterback just can't turn it over and you're going to be all right. You know, that's what Brent Key was trying to get Haynes King to understand last year. You know, Haynes King is a nice quarterback at times. He's also a guy that turns the football over. He threw way too many interceptions last year. It killed them in some games. It lost them some football games. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Their fan base is holding their breath to see if he does. I want to see, does DJ make the good decision? Hey, I'll live with 2nd and 10. I'll live with 3rd and 7, whatever it might be, because I got a great punter. I've made this point a lot. I've got a great punter, not a good punter. I got a great punter. I got a chance at my own 37 to fight another day and kick it down to your 10. And you know what? I got a pretty good damn defense, too. I'm going to be all right here. Let's just be smart with the football. Does DJ do that on Saturday? Have they convinced him of this? It's not like he's a turnover machine. He's not. But at times he's really made some poor decisions in terms of either deciding to not run, where he could have picked up some yardage, or throw inaccurately back across. I want to see that filtered out of his game completely. That's a huge step for him if he does it.
Yeah.
And I think he certainly, under Mike's tutelage and Tony Tokar's tutelage, probably should do it.
Well, and that's also, you wonder how much of that is camp. What can I get away with the receivers I have? Because I have receivers who are taller than 5'10" now.
Yeah, finally.
I mean, at Oregon State, that's all he had.
5'8", yeah.
It was like when we had Bobo Wilson and Kermit Whitfield, you know?
I hated that.
I know you did. I'm sure DJ did too. So he wants to find out. I mean, because Darion's not small. Kentron is the guy I think that's better positioned to be a jump ball player than Darion. Darion's not tiny. Malik Benson's not 5'7". I mean, this isn't a team of Ja'Kai Douglas height players. And so he might be working on that in camp to figure out what he can get away with, what he cannot get away with. We're going to find out what the habits are like on Saturday, though, because whatever the habits were in practice will show up this Saturday in game 1. Yeah. So we'll see. And part of it is also the comfort level in the offense. I think we're going to have to allow ourselves and allow him the room to screw up a couple of times. This is another brand new offense that he's trying to take in. And while they're going to cater a game plan to his specific skill set, I mean, you go from what you had at Clemson with 2 coordinators. Well, they fired one after DJ left, to Jonathan Smith, and now to Mike Norvell. There's a lot of unlearning that has to happen along with the learning of the new things.
Man, I got to believe he is so excited to be here. He has said as much repeatedly, DJ, that is. You know, Mike is very quarterback friendly.
Yeah.
Tony is, I think, an up-and-coming star in the game as young coaches go. I was asked one time, I think a couple different people have asked, who on this staff do you think might be the first to go just because of opportunity? Like, and meaning take a huge leap up in salary, a huge leap up in opportunity, go from quarterback coach to perhaps offensive coordinator somewhere, right? Something like that. I think Tony's an up-and-coming star in this business. I wouldn't be surprised if down the road we end up having to fight like hell to keep him around and give him an extra title or something along those lines. I would think as a quarterback, those two guys are really going to add a lot to what DJ brings to the table, because you mentioned the big arm talent is there. That you can't teach. He's got that.
So the funny thing is, I think DJ is about 10 years too late for the NFL. Because he's the cookie cutter of
prototypical pocket passer, right. Although he can move a little bit.
He can, but no, I mean, this is, you want a rocket arm, you want a guy that can win it for you off a play action, and he's Glennon. You know, he's like Glennon, except he's more mobile than Glennon.
And Glennon had a lot of problems in his game, and yet still got shots because of that big arm.
Correct, and the way offense was in the NFL in those days, which is I need a pocket passer, and that's what DJ is. He's a refined player. It's just that the completion percentage wouldn't suggest how refined he is. But mechanically, he's smooth. The way he scans the field is very much like somebody who has trained his whole life to be a quarterback. I mean, those little things in his game are very, very polished. It's just that there are times when somebody is wide the hell open and it's 10 yards in front of his face.
He spikes it.
And he spikes it, or it's the wrong shoulder, so the kid has to stop instead of running through the ball. Like it's little things like that.
This has been debated for a very long time, and I never played quarterback. I've never coached quarterback, so I can't tell you that I know the answer to this definitively. People love to say they know because they love football or they know football, but if you didn't play that position and you've not coached that position, and I've done neither. I mean, I've watched a ton of football. I have an opinion about these things, but quarterback, very different than talking about scheme, very different than talking about what you think the personnel is suited for.
He should have done this.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can it be coached up? Can it be taught? Can you become a much more accurate passer if by the 5th year you're playing quarterback you've never shown yourself to be?
Yeah.
I know the scheme can allow for a higher percentage. We can be a check down Charlie, but there would never be a reason to be a check down Charlie with this kid's arm, and they're not going to do that. So I do wonder about that.
A couple of things, though. He was at Clemson. Clemson was successful, and then he filled in for Lawrence when, they had a lot of weapons, and he was great in that game. But Clemson's wide receivers weren't exactly what they were for Deshaun Watson in the beginning of the Trevor Lawrence era when DJ was there. And Oregon State didn't have targets that are going to get drafted in the top 50. The way that Clemson was a factory for a good long while.
But I don't think Florida State does either is the problem here.
I agree. But that might be a limiting thing here when you're talking about, well, he's been here and he's been there and the accuracy's lower. Well, I mean, shoot, if he had Mike Williams from Clemson, if he had some of the guys that they have now, their receiver situation is better now than it's been in several years.
Well, you knew I liked that freshman that I saw a year ago.
If he was on Florida State's roster last year with Keon Coleman, I don't know what kind of numbers he put up. That's number one. Number two, if they do it again, if Mike and Tony do it again, because they did it, what you're talking about, they did for Jordan Travis.
They did. They changed him.
It would be 2 in a row that they brought in and they turned out and made better.
Quarterback, you have no choice but to come to Florida State.
And Tony will get paid.
And he will get paid. Let's get to one of these in the chat. I saw we had a couple of donations before we go to break. Let's throw that up there from Robert. To get a feel on how you guys look at some of these players, how about some over-unders for the season? DJU, 2,750 passing yards. I think that's about what Haynes King had last year. I'd go over. Roy Dell, 10.5 rushing TDs. Benson, 7.5 TDs. Morlock, 550 yards receiving. And Marvin, 8.5 sacks. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right, these are fun.
A lot of good numbers.
Keep it up on there, Matthew, if you would, Director.
There's a lot of sort through here.
That is. Okay, I went over on the DJU number.
I don't know.
Well, it's a rushing team. You're right. Maybe I should go under. That's tough.
I think it's a good number.
I think it's a great number, Robert. I think you nailed it. I'll take the over ever so slightly.
Well, hopefully we're playing 14, 15 games because then you would hit the over at that point.
I kind of counted on the fact that I'm going to have that in the ACC championship game.
Fair.
Roy Dell, 10.5 rushing TDs.
No,
I'll go under.
Sorry.
I'll go under that. I still think he's a very good player, but I'm going under there for sure. Benson, over 7.5 touchdowns. You want to go 8 touchdowns for him on those deep shots? Good number.
It is.
Robert, you're good. You gamble, don't you? I'm going to go 8. I'll go 8 touchdowns.
I'm going to go under.
Okay.
No. There's going to be a lot of touchdowns to the backs.
Plus Morlock. In the red zone.
I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if Toafili has 6 receiving touchdowns, right? Or if Jalen Lucas has 4 receiving touchdowns because they pop pass or they do some screens outside to him.
Morlock over 550 yards receiving under.
Probably.
Under.
Yeah.
I like Morlock a lot, though.
And yet we feel good about the offense. We're going under on a lot of these, Robert, but we feel good.
Marvin Jones Jr., 8.5 sacks, under.
I will say over on
9
that one.
9 sacks?
Yes. He's explosive as hell. And you're going to double Peyton. You're going to double Peyton in third and obvious. So he's going to get a chance to eat this year in a way that, let's say he comes back next year, he won't get that chance. I mean, and as disruptive as they are in the interior, you almost have to go max pro protect in a third and obvious situation. You don't want him in a one-on-one, but he's going to get a ton of those this year.
I want you to be so right about this. I'm willing to be so wrong about it. I will celebrate my wrongness if it happens. He's just never had to do it. He's never done it.
Yes.
We'll see.
It's the one-on-one thing. If Peyton didn't exist, it would be an under, but Peyton exists, so therefore that's to our benefit.
Yeah, I'm going under, and it's really interesting, though, too. I know somebody just said Verse had, what do you have, 9 sacks a year ago? Yeah. But Verse did so many things so well, and I'm wondering if Marvin can do those things too.
Verse, I mean, really, he could have had 15, 16 last year. Remember, he was cold in the stat book to start the season.
Oh, yeah.
But it's because teams schemed around Jared. They doubled him. They got the ball out of their hands.
That he could stop the run, too. He was taking on a different responsibility, but I think they're going to want Marvin to do that, too.
Agreed, but what I'm like, offensive coordinators were scheming for Jared Verse. They're not scheming for Marvin Jones Jr. this year.
They may be
for Peyton.
Our hope is that they are by week 4.
Right.
Then we would be in there, and that would be really, really good. By the way, you get to know your body with DexaFit. Get a DEXA scan today. Body composition, skeletal health analysis. I've talked about this before. It can help transform your life. They're the gold standard when it comes to using technology to aid your workouts, aid your nutrition, aid your knowledge of how to get fitter quicker, and doing so the correct way. You're going to want to try this DexaFit out. I did. I learned a lot about my resting metabolic rate. I've learned about the body composition. I've learned about my areas of weakness and strength. Jeff25 gets you a 25% discount. Go to DexaFit.com. Find your local DexaFit. It's right over there by Bumpus. Jeff25. Type that in. Sign up today. You get 25% off of any of their services. It really is saving you a ton of money. You're going to thank me for it. They do the VO2 Max. You find out all these things. You get at-home lab testing for hormones and food sensitivities. It's really informative. Jeff Cameron Show continues in a moment, live from Dublin in the old storehouse.
The Jeff Cameron Show live from Dublin. We'll be right back. Sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your phones are down, call Crown.
Your local news now.
Rocky Hanna secured a win against Star Swain in Tuesday's primary for Leon County School District Superintendent. Hanna will now face off against Joe Burgess in the November election. Hanna has served 2 terms at LCS Superintendent since 2016. In a statement, Hanna expressed gratitude for the outcome of Tuesday's race. In other election news, U.S. Senator Rick Scott has handily won Florida's Republican primary against 2 other opponents, moving on to face Democratic former U.S. Representative Debbie Mucarsel-Powell in November. And Neil Dunn has secured a win against challenger Rhonda Woodward in Tuesday's primary for race for the 2nd District GOP primary. Dunn is seeking his 5th term in the U.S. House of Representatives. He has been endorsed by former President Donald Trump, and his platform focuses on immigration, inflation, and the fentanyl crisis, among other issues. Dunn is projected to face off against Democratic candidate Yen Bailey in the November elections. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 93 this afternoon under mainly sunny skies. Winds out of the southeast around 5 miles per hour. Lows level off around 72 tonight. Slight chance for storms. Thunderstorms likely tomorrow. Highs around 89. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 91 degrees.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Jeff.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Rise and climb, Seminole Nation. It's game week, and it's time to chop down some Yellow Jackets. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin, sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your network's down, call Crown.
In a million years, I would not have expected to be broadcasting a show, Jeff Cameron Show in this case, a pregame show.
Yeah.
Watching a game, being down on the field, and all the things we got to do a year ago. I do want to thank the fine folks at Aer Lingus for setting this up and having us come over in advance and being so accommodating. But again, and I would have never guessed that in a career that I have said I've enjoyed thoroughly from start to finish and feel lucky to have, that we would ever be in this position, Tom, to be surrounded by Knoll fans, City Sitter, Temple Bar, district of London. Listen to me. I flew into London, of Dublin. It's unreal. And I keep pinching myself. I just can't believe we're doing this. And I want to thank everybody. We have met already. And it's only Wednesday.
Yeah.
Balls McWednesday indeed. We've already met a ton of people who have been oh so kind and supportive. This place is packed. You can hear it behind me. It's hard to fathom. And it's also very exciting. And so thank you very much.
This is but a wing of the old Storehouse complex. I mean, it's got a bunch of segments to it. So what I would say is, for those of you that are thinking of coming on Friday, first of all, get here early.
Yeah.
Judging by the crowd, yesterday was a nice crowd. It was probably 50, 60 people at any given time coming around here.
Yep.
And it's packed to the gills today, which means Friday is going to be jammed. There's a lot of sectors to the bar. We'll make sure the Warchant staff for the meet and greet moves about. And so, we'll be in different pockets to say hello. But if you do want to watch the show on Friday, you're going to want to get here early and be in the beer garden. That is where we are broadcasting from right now, is the outdoor beer garden in the Storehouse. Every once in a while, a Dublin breeze kicks through the cobblestone streets over there.
It's perfect.
And it's just this refreshing, wonderful feeling. But it's going to get packed here in the beer garden. So if you want to watch on Friday, get here. And you might want to be a little bit more like a library audience. Because I know the festivities are going to go. I'm just saying, if you want to hear it, if you want to hear it,
have fun, get crazy, do all the partying you want to do. I get it. I mean, it'd be nice, but hey, what are you going to do?
Well, I would rather party than listen to me and you. But if I were here, and that's the thing is, like you just said, it's only Wednesday. Today feels like Friday before a game. Today feels like the game day. We're going to kick off in a few hours. We've got 3 more days, 2.5 more days before we arrive to the big event, to the Marching Chiefs marching through the streets of Dublin into Aviva Stadium. That's going to be unbelievable. 3:30 p.m. Irish time.
We start walking towards Aviva.
There's a march, and they're playing Florida State's war chant and fight songs as they take it from about, 15 minutes of a walk away from Aviva Stadium into the stadium. Like, are you kidding me to be around here for that?
I walked the area where we're going to be and where they're going to be, and I did the march to the stadium last year. And first of all, it's just cool. I mean, there are some places in the States that you could say are very similar. If you've ever been to Fenway, you have. If you've ever been to Wrigley Field, I don't know if you've been to Wrigley. I've been to Wrigley. But in Chicago, my point is this. Those are two places that are in neighborhoods.
Right.
Wrigley, you're walking around a neighborhood, and the next thing you know, you look up, you're like, oh, there's Wrigley Field, and it's been there for over 100 years.
Yeah, Fenway's like that.
Yeah, Fenway's like that. You're just in a neighborhood. Aviva is very much like that. You're going to be walking around, and you're going to see these quaint, charming little neighborhoods, if you will, and then all of a sudden, you're going to turn the corner, you're like, whoa, there it is, it is. And so it's all at once charming and unique, but also brand new. Aviva's not old. So you can see like the modern, stadium smack dab in the middle of this ancient area. It's fantastic. And I'm just trying to paint a picture for the people that didn't come over, not rub it in, but just kind of give you an idea of what it's like. And really, more and more, as I talk to people here, I can't believe this is really going to be surprising to me if it's not a robust difference between the amount of Noles that are here and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I just don't see that many making their way here.
This is part of it, though. When you get feedback from a certain amount of your, college classmates, a certain amount of your friends from different walks of life, it's a big event. Like for me, if guys I went to school with in Tampa are like, hey, we're going to be at this game. And then in addition to that, my old roommates that were, high school friends, roommates, people I knew when I was in my mid or late 20s, and all of these worlds collide. Or I've got family members, extended family, who don't know anything about Florida State week to week, but they say, hey, are you going to that game? This is one of those.
Yeah.
And my friends that I've known 20 years are going to be here. And then folks that I know from Tallahassee that have become my friends in my 30s are going to be here, and everything in between, family members, all that kind of stuff. And you can tell. I mean, I'm getting texts every 10 minutes saying, hey, I'm over here, I'm over there, where are you? Like, well, we're on the air, first of all. We're doing a broadcast back home to the States. And secondly, I can't wait to see you. It's been 5 years. This is one of those events, and it's going to be a fantastic Saturday.
Something to note, football related, Mike did one final interview before, or one final meeting of the press.
Yep.
Before they gathered the team to get on a bus over to the airport and make their way to Dublin, Ireland. It was cool to see him with the marching chiefs and to celebrate on a stage. You see that? Mike was relaxed. He looked like he was wearing like some comfortable ass like sweatpants and a t-shirt. It was great. But the point would be, he was asked about the receivers. I feel like if there's been a through line to this camp amongst the fan base and amongst the press, it has been questions about the wide receivers.
Yeah.
And whether or not they're ready to play. It's go time. It's game time. There's no time for you anymore to try to figure it out. We need you to be ready now. And Mike, a week ago, really lit in, maybe a little more than a week ago, really lit into that receiving core behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bad practice. That's all I can say. They had a bad practice, and they had these moments, these pockets that I've talked about a lot where they were good, then they were bad, then they were good, then they were bad for 2 days, they were okay for a day, then bad again. And I think he had just seen enough. He was frustrated. And in that moment, I'm told that there was a gathering. Mike's alluded to this is why I'm allowed to talk about it. But from my understanding, my sources say it was heated. Yeah. It was a heated exchange. Mike was lighting up the receiver room, that he walked in there. Now, Mike lets his coaches coach. But he went in and he had a conversation with that group. In essence, saying, we don't have any more time. Which one of you care to step up your game and make it no decision? I need to know who are my guys? Who's ready to roll? We got a game in 14 days. Which one of you are going to be the guys that I know I can count on? Because right now, none of you have been able to do it. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously. Now, the response to that led to a great week of practice for the wide receivers.
Yeah.
Something sparked in there, a desperation, an understanding that they were being called out. Nobody likes to be called out. We've all had jobs. We've all been on the wrong end of a boss's ire for something that did or did not get done along those lines. It was a game changer. You know, you realize, like, okay, look, I got to button up. I got to make things to where there's no doubt we have a clear understanding of what we're doing. And I really think that kind of changed the mindset. We'll see if it translates on Saturday.
Yeah,
but I think it changed the mindset for that core.
Well, it's like, damn it. Okay, if you're a receiver, you want the ball. And all receivers do is complain when they don't get the damn ball. And he's like, there's a ball for you to catch now because all my guys are gone.
Yeah.
Okay, so which one of you are going to step up? I've been waiting 3 damn years. I've been waiting 3 damn years for one of y'all to do it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait any longer. You want me to give it to Moore? You want me to give it to McCoy?
This is the reason that it's the time. This is the opportunity of a lifetime for you.
Yes.
Look, the guys that I had to feed, the mouths that I had to feed a year ago,
gone.
They're gone. Like that ball had to go to Keon Coleman. That ball had to go to Keon Coleman. And that ball also needed to get to Johnny Wilson.
And it would have for Jaheim if he was healthy.
And he wasn't healthy. But those guys wanted the ball. I hate this term. It's overused. People talk about it all the time now. But in short, they were alphas. Yeah. They wanted the ball. They were not afraid to say they wanted the ball. Yeah. I thought that was a minor conflict. Jordan understood who needed the ball.
Yep. Oh,
right?
Sorry.
Jordan understood who had to get the ball. You've got a bunch of guys now who are in no position to demand the ball, who cannot say a damn thing because they've never done anything for any length of time.
But this is
none of them have more than 13 catches in their career. I mean, none of them could look Jordan Travis, in this case, DJU, in the face and say, give me the damn ball. Oh, look, man. Like, go easy. I'm going to get the ball to who's open. Here's your chance.
It shouldn't be at Florida State. And, again, there's a good ending to this because I'm told even today they had another good day. Jaylen Brown was excellent today. Kentron, Darion were good. So it's continued. There's a good ending here. But the opportunity you have before you right now, it is smacking you in the face. Like the dead fish handshake, just smacking you back and forth. You have not responded to the challenge. We need somebody outside of Malik to be somebody.
Yeah, the guy.
We need you, and this is why Mike is frustrated. And we talked about this in real time a couple weeks ago. The way he would speak on Elijah Moore, the way he would speak about LaWayne McCoy, is that these guys are not afraid of the moment, but they're so young and there's so much they need to learn. which is code for I can't trust them to make the right decisions based upon the rules of our offense to be in a spot where DJ is going to throw the ball. I can't trust them to do it. I'm going to have to simplify the offense and change what we do fundamentally if I have to put one of these freshmen out there. And I don't want to have to do that because Kentron knows the offense. Darion knows the offense. I would like one of those gentlemen to step up and not be afraid of the moment and consistently make the catches. And
the whole thing.
Darion had a really good week last week.
It's huge. I'll tell you, Tom, the one thing that I worry about isn't so much that Kentron can't step up or Darion can't step up. I both think they're athletic, gifted wide receivers in terms of size and length and overall talent. I do think they have talent.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be here if they didn't have talent. What we also know is that they haven't been able to stay on the field. Health has been the biggest issue.
Sure.
If they're healthy going into this game, given what we saw in camp, late in camp with these guys, I'm going to tell you, I think they produce. I think they play well. I think those are two guys that know the offense very well. That they just haven't been able to stay on the field is really the. Now, listen, do I think they're Keon Coleman? No, man. Keon was a special player, but they don't have to be. They don't have to be an NFL star receiver. They just need to be a really good college wide receiver.
And it all hinges on the fact that you believe we're going to be able to run the football. If we do, then the scheme is going to allow them opportunities. Again, it's before you. Last year, we couldn't consistently run the ball. So these receivers were in not great situations.
Right.
Pokey Wilson's wide open in multiple games in 22 because they were so scared of counter.
Yeah.
Pokey's a good player, but he's wide open because we can run the ball.
Yeah.
That's what's coming if you're willing to take it.
It's going to be exciting to see if they can. I'll tell you this. Hour number 2 forthcoming here in a moment at the Old Storehouse in gorgeous Dublin, Ireland. We are packed here with Knowles all around us. Back for another hour in just a moment. Stay tuned to the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Time. It's the one thing we never get back. We can't create it. We can't buy it. We can't store it somewhere. Once it's gone for good, which makes it the most valuable thing we have. The only real question is how we spend our time. So, how much time are you spending every day running in circles with a computer network using old software on old equipment that's wasting your time, that gets in the way and leaves you feeling angry and frustrated? Let's fix that. Call Crown Networking. They've been helping people just like you and I make the best use of their time for the last 20 years. Now is the time for you to make the call. Here's the number in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090, 999-0090, or online at crownnetworking.com. Oh, and talk to them about getting you a new phone system, too. You know, it's time.
Your destination for the most authentic Peruvian flavors in the capital city is Café de Martín and El Bar, where you can escape to another world and indulge in the true taste and experience of Peru. Enjoy daily lunch specials like our all-new lomo saltado or beef asado sandwiches served with a side and a drink. All-day happy hour every day and exciting live entertainment every weekend. Join us Friday, August 29th with a night of your favorite songs with guitarist George Beju. View our full menu and live music schedule online at cafedemartin.com.
This is Jay of Paul's Termite and Pest Control. There are many companies out there selling pest treatment programs at prices which seem too good to be true. Like most things, you get what you pay for. Let's separate the fact from the fiction. Fiction. The price these companies offer includes all visits needed to keep a home pest-free. Fact. Their prices only include regular visits for exterior treatments. If you encounter pests inside your home, these companies will charge you for additional visits. Is that really pest prevention? At Paul's Termite and Pest Control, we always apply exterior treatments, but our plan includes a significant difference. Whenever you encounter an interior problem, Paul's technicians are there, usually the same day you call, and there is no extra charge. With ProShield, you'll never pay extra for providing the service we promised. Pest prevention for your home, and we'll be there as many times as needed to honor our commitment with no extra charge. Paul's Termite and Pest Control is a local company that proudly served the Tallahassee area for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites and any other pests,
call Paul's. We'll get them all.
And we make lawns greener, too.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Crescent, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Florida State will kick off the college football season in Dublin, Ireland against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets on Saturday. The Seminoles 11-point favorites, 55.5 the total. Jaguars close out the preseason Friday night at Atlanta. Jacksonville laying 7, 35.5 the total at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Ryan Pepio on the mound with the Tampa Bay Rays today, $1.30 favorite at Oakland, plus 110, 7.5 flat the total. Braves and Phillies continue their series today. It's Max Fried on the mound for Atlanta, minus 115, against Aaron Nola of the Phillies, minus 105. The total is 8, shaded to the over. Bet smarter with Juice Reel. It's free in the App Store. Juice, REEL. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
I juggle a lot. I'm managing constipation with belly pain from my irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, with laxatives and fiber isn't enough. My doctor recommended a way to get ahead of it. Then I said yes to Linzess. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LANZESS.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Sellers, are you stuck between wanting to sell your home and waiting for rates to fall? Are you worried about the contingency of having to sell your home? What if you didn't have to? With a 2-1 rate buy down, you can lock in a lower interest rate for the first 2 years of your mortgage and get the home you want now, all while having a higher chance to buy that next home with the contingency of selling yours. If you wait for rates to fall, you risk more competition, sellers less likely to wait, and paying more for that next property. If you're stuck, we need to talk. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. Again, this is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That's 954-369-6171. And don't forget, for every
check.
for our fellow Knowles, I will
check.
$250 to the battle's end.
Equal housing rent. NMLS number 373031.
Hey, fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
There was once a day. It was a Wednesday, and there were many a game on the schedule. Balls were flying around everywhere. And in a moment of pure spontaneous brilliance, it became Balls McWednesday. Live from Dublin, it's a Balls McWednesday Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants.
Hour 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, as we broadcast live from Dublin, the old storehouse, which is a beautiful thing. And oh, by the way, on Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show. If you're watching on YouTube, you're watching Warchant TV. We appreciate you. I see all you guys in the chat.
That was me. No, that we didn't have a hot mic. I turned it on so the people here, I was checking. And it was on for 1 second.
1 second.
That's why somebody said Tom's professional enough to know not to have a hot mic around Jeff.
Well, Live Spectator is actually a friend of ours, is a friend of mine. I've known for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I don't appreciate the shot, Live Spectator. I'll tell you what, you know the way I talk in real life. And who doesn't have a problem on the air? This guy does not have a problem on the air. There's a switch. There is a switch in my head that goes off. Admittedly, you're right. In that situation, a live mic, that could be a problem.
Correct.
Could be a problem. But I trust my producer. I trust director Matthew, and I trust Tom as a producer to put us in that situation.
Yeah, well, and that information, it would have been an informational hot mic situation more than anything else.
Yeah, it was just us talking about an angle that we were going to go to and so a couple of other things.
Well, a couple other things behind the scenes that, people may know Saturday, say around 1 o'clock p.m. You'll know by that point.
So let me address this the best way I can, because I saw some folks are still asking questions in the chat about Hakeem Williams. Now, I'm going to grant you that when you're watching video wraps, practice reports, you're reading these stories in camp, you go from, kind of thinking, all right, well, let's see how these receivers progress and who has a good day, who has a bad day and the like, all that.
Yeah.
And so part of this is that you might be looking at something like that and go, man, they just haven't really been talking about a certain guy. A certain guy has not been mentioned in some time.
Now, damn it, why is he not in the practice reports?
And I'll tell you something right now. If I view it from that vantage point, right, I'm a guy that lives in Cincinnati, and I'm a Knoll, and I really am reading the practice reports. I'm watching
Cincinnati
the raps.
Seminole Club, one of the best.
Okay, so there I am, right? And we don't know if that's true or not. Tom just made that up. But, yeah, so we're hanging out, and I'm like, man, a certain receiver is not being mentioned, like ever.
Yeah.
I don't hear his name at all. Seems odd to me. Some sort of shenanigans must be going on. But some people look at it as, that kid is an unmitigated failure. He's a bum and I hate him. What happened to this loser? Why isn't he on the field? He was supposed to be an elite recruit, and I'm not hearing a thing about it. A reminder, there are many reasons that players do or do not make the practice report, discussion, or article. Many reasons we have conversations about certain guys on certain days and other guys on other days and not certain guys on certain days. And they're not all a snapshot of what a player isn't doing or hasn't become. They're not all negative to the player. We are not allowed to discuss certain things. You guys know this. So don't always think that somebody's not progressing, is my point.
Yeah.
Don't always think that the simple answer is this person is not achieving. It can be many more things, and you know the reasons for this. And Tom and I were discussing during that break, hey, listen, if you're listed as a third-string wide receiver, and yet the head coach has said a lot of nice things about you, has said that your time's coming.
You're close to breaking through.
That you're close to breaking through, quote unquote.
Yeah.
It kind of tells you why that person would be third string. It kind of tells you like, okay, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
Just hang in there, guys.
Hang in there. That's the right way to do it. Hang in there.
Just hang in there. And, listen, it is infinitely frustrating. It's also the kind of thing, it's the lone negative. It's the lone negative, and it's not even, I completely get it.
Yeah.
But it is the lone negative of the policy.
Yes, it is. But, hey, look, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Oh, very much.
And, buddy, when these people see Hakeem Williams is actually the starting quarterback at Florida State on Saturday, their minds are going to be blown. They really are. They won't believe themselves. But there are limitations to the policy, and everybody gets that. I would hope by now more and more of you, as you're joining the fine nation that is warchant.com, and it's thousands and thousands and thousands of FSU members. You can sign up right now for $1 for 2 months.
Nice.
Use the promo code FSU1, FSU and the number 1. You get it. You get it. Once you get into the flow of things and our coverage style and all those types of things. But the good news is, as we were talking about to end the last hour, is once the challenge was issued to these wide receivers, there has been a response. It's one of Mike Norvell's favorite words in the world, other than speed. It's response. And this group has done that. Our Matt Lacerre texted me last segment about today's practice, which just wrapped up. I mean, they didn't wrap up that long ago on the practice fields before hopping on a plane to come over here to Dublin. But Kentron was good again today. Jalen Brown, who was listed as a starter by himself, was good again today. Darion Williamson was good again today.
Let me bring this up here. I only want to talk about Jalen Brown for a second.
Okay.
That is revelatory. That is stunning. Jalen Brown was an afterthought for much of this camp, if I'm being honest. Jalen Brown is a young receiver who's not played a bunch of redshirt freshman. Has not played a lot of football at all. And is a guy that you kind of thought, we're not going to get much from him in year one. It may take a little while. He may have a very small role. When Jalen Brown emerged to the point where they listed him as a starter for this game, I found it very, very surprising.
Not a co-starter.
Not a co-starter, a starter.
Yeah.
I found it very surprising. And I think it's a testament to that young man who really started camp kind of rough. Yeah. He had good days, bad days. That's all I'll say. And then from there, he just got more and more consistent, and I got to give him credit.
Well, you guys talked about him a lot in spring camp, and the days I was there, I didn't see anything. And so again, when you drop in, parachute in for a day or two, and then you leave,
tough, it's tough. The kid has a bad day,
right? Then your whole perception of what they are is warped.
A perfect example is you never saw a thing from Lawayne McCoy,
right?
And Lawayne McCoy, for a stretch of about 2 weeks, Tom, was the best receiver they had.
Right.
And you were there a day he did nothing. And so when you were calling me from New York, like, what is the talk of Lawayne McCoy? I'm like, Tom, I'm telling you,
what's the deal with this guy?
Yeah.
I still think, all that being said, and it's an achievement for the coaching staff to put a redshirt freshman atop the list as a starter at wide receiver. That's in and of itself an achievement. I would be stunned if Darion doesn't get more targets. I really, maybe it's because of the practices I've seen, he's been very good. I feel like that's the player whose game
praised as having done good work in the last week or so. So
yeah, I feel like he's going to be the second guy.
Really quick, this actually allows us to expand a little bit more on this whole thing. Those depth charts, I don't want to say they don't mean anything. They do.
No, they told the truth last year, and a couple of things where we were surprised about.
But there are also aspects of the depth chart that don't mean nearly as much as people think they do.
Yeah.
Because the whole or aspect of those things has to do with your opponent and who best exploits that kind of a defense or that kind of an offense, depending on which side of the ball you're looking at. So there's a lot. So, for example, if you are playing a run-heavy team, a team that really is 70-30 with runs, 80-20 even, somebody who's like Michigan. Like, Michigan did not count on their quarterback to win games.
Right.
It didn't keep the Vikings from drafting him high.
Good
but
Lord.
anyhow, the point is,
take his first snap next year.
So the point is, Michigan was going to beat you by running the ball and playing great defense.
Yeah.
Right?
They needed him to make 3 throws a game.
And he did.
Yeah,
that's
he did.
fine. Yeah.
He did.
But the point would be this. If that's who you are, well, guess who's going to be on the field defensively? The biggest sons of bitches you got.
Right.
I mean, at that point, DJ Lundy is going to be important. Cam Riley at 245 is going to be important in that game.
Yeah.
Maybe not Blake Nicholson. But does that mean Blake isn't going to play a ton for you? No, when they play a team that is spreading you out and you need a linebacker that can run with somebody, it ain't going to be DJ Lundy.
Right.
It's going to be Blake. So scheme matters, opponent matters. That depth chart has a lot to do with, the or has to do with what the other team is trying to do.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is how often are we going to be in 3 wide receiver sets, personnel-wise?
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be.
I think we're going to be big.
I think we'll be in 2 tights fairly often. I think, or 2 backs, 1 tight.
2 backs, 1 tight feels
versus 3 wide.
Oh,
3 wide, 1. I mean, you might do that.
I don't think they have the personnel to be doing a lot of 3 and 4 wide. I don't know why you would do that.
After all we've said,
let's go
3 on the
That's
field.
not the strength of your team.
Right.
I think Kyle Morlock is going to have a huge year. He's going to be out there all the time. He got bigger, got better at blocking.
He'll probably be split out wide. I mean, again, it's just tight end is like 9 different positions in Mike Norvell's offense. and he plays one of them, and it's more the receiver style.
I'll tell you this about Kyle Morlock. There's not a player that Mike Norvell talked about more.
Yeah.
I mean, there were days, I thought this was fascinating. Coaches utilize the media and those talking points to send messages to their players, whether they're mad, whether they're happy with their development, whether they're frustrated, whatever it might be. There were days that Kyle Morlock, who had a really good camp, by the way, overall Kyle was really good in camp, but there were days that Kyle Morlock did nothing. He may not have even had a single catch. And Mike would step up to the dais and be like, boy, I thought Kyle Morlock was great today. I'm like, you did? He didn't do a thing. But I think it's because of all the other aspects of the game that he sees Kyle impacting now.
Right. He knows that he's working on things.
Yeah,
And that's the other thing about practice. Like, that's where sometimes I get frustrated by the living and the dying. And I get it. If I were in the position, like I am often being out of state, of our subscribers, of Seminoles fans, I can't wait to get the practice reports every day. I can't wait to see whose name is in bold and how often their name is in bold. I'm reading them the same as you guys are. Now, I get to text y'all, and I get the straight dope on some other things, but I'm reading them. Okay, who does Corey think had a big day today? The Warchant rap with you guys. Who are you all talking about? And talking to you on a segment. Like, who are these guys talking about? But we can't live or die with practice because there are times. I'll tell you, for example.
Well, that's why you're pumped right now. It's a damn game Saturday.
I am.
We're done with this.
Like, for example, last week, Marvin Jones gets stood up on 2 separate occasions by Jeremiah Byers in one-on-one pass rush drills. You know how those drills are. But before the first rep and in between the second and the third rep, he's with John Papuchis, and they're talking about a technical move that they're trying to get him to add to his repertoire. So quite literally, he's going against what could be your starting right tackle, and he's working on something.
Yeah.
Now,
it's not unlike a pitcher working on a pitch in spring training and getting lit up. And all of a sudden, you're like, my guy gave up 7 runs in 2 2/3. Well, he's kind of working on a changeup
and
right
so
now.
I'm writing in the practice observations that Byers beats Jones back to back. And Byers has had his days where he's legitimately beat guys who aren't working on things. So don't get me wrong. This is not me trying to backdoor trashing Jeremiah Byers. But I had to put a sentence in there that said, now he was working on something. Was Jones?
Yeah, you got to put that
in. Because guys go to practice to work on things and get better at particular parts of their game. That's all part of it. So some days you might see that a guy like you're talking about, Morlock, doesn't have 6 catches and 3 touchdowns in the 1-on-1s, the 7-on-7s, and the 11-on-11. But maybe the angle he took on a play in which they need to get the ball outside in order to block it's the first time he did it.
Yeah.
And then also the motion, the alignment, the places he was. Maybe Mike Norvell is seeing those things. He's like, finally, this guy, I'm asking him to do these details so I can put him out there on the field for more jobs, and he's taking those jobs to heart, and he's executing. So that it all goes into it in practice. Sometimes guys are literally at the driving range, and they're working on a shot that they don't have because they're trying to add something new to their game.
You're making a very valid point. Meanwhile, I was searching DraftKings to try to find the latest odds. But
that's why I kept going.
No, you did a good job. I was trying to bring something to the table. It wasn't about what you were saying. I was listening to every word. DraftKings doesn't work over here, Tom. I was trying to pull up. The number keeps moving. I find all of this fascinating. It's down to 10.5 in some books now. It started at 12.5, 13. We're down to 10.5. I like the under in this game still, but I am intrigued by the fact that a lot of people think Georgia Tech is going to be in this thing late. You're one of them. I know that. And I've had some people bring up the fact that there are plenty of folks around that Tech program that feel like they're about to have a great year. I've politely reminded them that they may be a better football team than they were a year ago, which went to a bowl and won 7 games. But their record is not going to be better than it was a year ago. They played the second or first, depending on where you're looking, hardest schedule in all of college football.
Yeah.
They ain't winning 7 games. It didn't happen. They'd have to win this one to have any shot at getting to 7. I don't think they're going to win this one, but they will be, I think, a well-coached team. They were last year. I think they'll be better than they were last year, but I don't think it's going to show up in the record.
It may not. The thing is, I'm in a position where all I did today was break down the good things that Georgia Tech does.
Right.
And so I'm in a position today where I'm like, oh, you got a little bit more to be worried about here. And, it's because I'm watching, again, the strengths of all the things that they're executing with consistency. And the one thing that I'm thinking now, again, having done that, is where could I be wrong? Now, where could we be wrong about this game?
It's easy to be wrong when week one, buddy.
The total. I could be wrong about the total. Now, I think the best friend to the under is that both of these teams want to run the football. They want to run it consistently, shorten the game. However, they both are very good at what they do, running the football, and you could see some explosive plays on the ground that shorten drives because you have a 30-yard gain followed by a 6-yard pass, then a 16-yard run, and a touchdown. And that's how you might be able to climb into the 50s here for the total. Just watching how Georgia Tech, they were one group against Ole Miss when they kind of got ran out of the building by Ole Miss because their defense was awful. And then watching the journey of them going through their season, getting through a game like North Carolina where the offense produced a lot, and then facing Georgia, that Georgia performance, again, it's more impressive than the score would indicate. If you watch the throws of that game,
21-7.
Yeah. Or at the very least 17-7. Yes, yeah. And they could have very well been up at the half last year against Georgia too. So, like, they found an identity. They lean into it. They know what they're about. And those teams, when you're veteran laden, you know what you're about. Those teams can be dangerous because they don't have the arrogance to try to do something that they're not. They know what they need to be in order to be successful. While Florida State on the other side is breaking in a lot of new players.
I always desperately root for coaches to get cute. Rick Key will never get cute. I always want coaches to opt out of what they're trying to do.
There's the information for you. So it's at 10.
So it's 10. Yeah, there it is. 55.5 has remained pretty consistent. But yeah, 10, 10.5, 10. It was 12.5 the other day. Very interesting. By the way,
getting inside 10.5 is interesting to me. Like 11.5 to 10.5 to me doesn't matter that much. But 10.5 to 10? That's fascinating.
You get down under 10.
If you get under 10, we have I don't know why that would happen. Is Calvin Johnson coming back because of NIL and he's got 1 year of eligibility left to go? I mean, like, what's that about?
It's interesting. I don't know how much in Vegas chatter conversations about teams from outside sources. Like if there's an article that's written by Pete Thamel or something like that highlights the strength of Georgia Tech, or there's another article that comes out later on that has some question marks for Florida State. Do they take that into account? Do all of a sudden does Vegas say, maybe we got this number too big, or is it solely the bets coming in? It's got to be the bets coming in.
I think
it can only be the bets coming in.
And sometimes different books have different lines because they have a different amount of cash flow and the source of the cash flow.
But that line, one thing's consistent across all books.
Yeah, they're starting to shrink.
Bet Online, FanDuel, but the number keeps going down.
10 to 9.5. I mean, at that point, it's a buyer's market for Florida State.
I agree. By the way, that schedule, I alluded to it. We should touch on it. Georgia Tech obviously starts with Florida State. So you're talking about a top 10 team. They get a couple of pushovers in the form of Georgia State and Syracuse and VMI. I should say a few pushovers. But then they play Louisville, who, of course, is extremely well coached, went to the ACC championship game last year. Yeah. That game is at Georgia Tech. They're on the road against Duke. They host North Carolina. They're on the road just like we are against Notre Dame, another top 10 team. Virginia Tech was one of the most improved teams in the country last year.
They should be pretty good.
Great game. Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech later in the year. Then Georgia Tech goes, now this strikes me as odd. That can't be right. Didn't Georgia Tech play Miami on the road last year? They did, down in Miami. Am I looking at last year's schedule? It might be
you shouldn't be. Yeah. They might be playing them again.
I think they got that wrong. Why would they be playing Miami in Miami? Anyhow, they also go to NC State, and then they play Georgia at the end of the year. I will have to double-check that is right.
They're going to Georgia at the end of the year because they played in Atlanta last year. So maybe they're at Miami back-to-back years. Well, I mean, look, the schedule got weird because you added 3 teams to the fold. So
it's quite the screw job to have to go play them on the road twice.
I mean, 50 people were there last year.
You own the place and have a blast.
They should all wear orange knee pads.
I was going to say they should come out and all take a knee simultaneously. How much fun would that be?
Just put an orange bandana around all of your knees on your right side.
Man, good times. Jeff Cameron Show is broadcasting live from the old storehouse here in Dublin. We take a quick break and more to follow on 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
The Jeff Cameron Show live from Dublin. We'll be right back. Sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your phones are down, call Crown.
Walmart's end of summer super sale is going on now. Through the close of business on August 31st, we drop prices on many of your favorite items. Save at least 30% on every TV, every bike, and all tools. Save 25% on car stereo and computers too, and every piece of jewelry. Rings, bracelets, necklaces, earrings, pendants, everything marked down at least 50%, some items as much as 70% off. But hurry for your best choice. The end of summer super sale is happening now through Saturday, August 31st at both locations. Fulmer's pawn, gun sales, and check cashing, more than you might expect. This is Alex from Fulmer. We've been buying gold and silver jewelry, fine watches, and other collectibles for over 45 years. But did you know Fulmer's buys and sells gold and silver coins, bars, and bullion? Don't get scammed online or pay high shipping and handling fees. Call or stop by Fulmer's for a quick and easy quote. No matter if you're new to investing in bullion or have been collecting a lifetime, Fulmer's is your local source for buying, selling gold and silver coins and bullion. Fulmer's, more than you might expect, with 2 great locations.
Time. It's the one thing we never get back. We can't create it. We can't buy it. We can't store it somewhere. Once it's gone for good, which makes it the most valuable thing we have. The only real question is how we spend our time. So, how much time are you spending every day running in circles with a computer network using old software on old equipment that's wasting your time, that gets in the way and leaves you feeling angry and frustrated? Let's fix that. Call Crown Networking. They've been helping people just like you and I make the best use of their time for the last 20 years. Now is the time for you to make the call. Here's the number in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090, 999-0090, or online at crownnetworking.com. Oh, and talk to them about getting you a new phone system, too. You know, it's time.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
Your destination for the most authentic Peruvian flavors in the capital city is Café de Martín and El Bar, where you can escape to another world and indulge in the true taste and experience of Peru. Enjoy daily lunch specials like our all-new lomo saltado or beef asado sandwiches served with a side and a drink. All-day happy hour every day and exciting live entertainment every weekend. Join us Friday, August 29th with a night of your favorite songs with guitarist George Feiju. View our full menu and live music schedule online at cafedemartin.com.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Rise and climb, Seminole Nation. It's game week, and it's time to chop down some Yellow Jackets. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin, sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your network's down, call Crown.
We are broadcasting from the old storehouse in Dublin, Ireland. It is spirited as you might expect. It is a lot of fun. Weather is perfect in Dublin. What I call perfect weather, low 60s, high 50s, slight breeze. No mist in the air tonight so far.
Yeah, you never know. There might be a little bit.
Proper Irish mist will make its way.
We're going to get into the festivities tonight a little bit. Now the body clock is on Irish Standard Time.
It is adjusted.
Yes.
You are good to go. I want to thank my friends that have collaborated with us on the Jeff Cameron Show for some time now. That is Tried and True Consulting. These are guys, like, look, man, when we first got in contact with one another, I was talking to Don and Joe, and Don was pointing out, he's like, man, we're just like FSU football in that we're on the climb, and we want your business to be on the climb, and we want to work with fellow Noles, and we want people to save money and make money. And so we were just talking that through, and listen, they're a payments and business solutions company. They do lots of different things. Right now, they're promoting the ad board. If you are a business that's, say, a dentist's office, a doctor's office, maybe you're a car lot, auto repair shop, a dealership, or something like that. You have a waiting room. Maybe you're an orthodontist, maybe something along those lines. They have a program, their ad program that can work for you. They come in, they install a 55-inch television. It promotes your business. They can operate it from afar. They can be in Orlando. You don't ever have to worry about it. They put it up. It's a free TV for you. 2/3 of that could be promoting your business. They've got all of that, whatever that is going to be that you want to show on that. If you need to learn more about this, or you want to learn more about this, they'll be more than excited to talk to you and help you out. You want to reach out to Tried and True today. I think it's a good idea. Scan that QR code. Call Don or Joe today. Listen, 352-725-3873. Just go to the website, triedandtrueconsulting.com, and you learn more. All right, so we've talked so much about Florida State's offense against Georgia Tech's defense. I love the fact that Florida State's defense is going to be seeing an offense that they're very familiar with, at least in the sense that a lot of the concepts are the same as you talked about. If you had to name the best and most important player in this game, we have a good player of the game kind of conversation. Who's the player of the game for Florida State's defense based on the film you looked at today and last night in order to write the deep dive article that's going to be on warchant.com later on today?
Josh Farmer.
Okay, well, there it is.
I think it's Josh Farmer because the middle of the line, if you can blow that up, you can stop gap concepts. You don't have to commit extra bodies to places that you don't want them to be. And by that, I mean, Adam Fuller even said this Monday in his press conference. Look, we need to be dominant up front so we can do things from a coverage standpoint that we want to do. But it all starts with being dominant up front. And I think they're going to run left, they're going to run right. And indiscriminately, it doesn't matter if they're at one hash mark or the other. They'll break tendencies. You have to be ready, and you have to contain where you're supposed to contain, stay at home where you're supposed to stay home. So the onus is going to be on sometimes Patrick Payton, sometimes Lolo Hayes, sometimes Shaheem Brown, sometimes Kevin Knowles or Earl Little. But Josh Farmer and Darrell Jackson, but specifically Josh, when he's out there, he can affect any play and every play because they will like to do a lot of window dressing. And I really think if they hold that point of attack in the middle and they can make some plays and be disruptive on first and second and down with their defensive interior, and I think Josh is better suited for this specific role, then you can be in 2nd and 8. And that could put you in 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 6. I mean, I think it all starts the closer to the football you can get. We know it. You see the counter and you're trying to create extra gaps. Sometimes if you've got a game record that's just in the middle of that defensive line, it can throw off timing, which is key because their offense, it's eerily similar. I've got a clip that for Warchant subscribers, you'll see a little bit later today on the third leg feature, where it's a play that Mike ran to death for Jordan Travis earlier in his career. It's counter,
right?
Read option for the quarterback, so quarterback can give on a counter, he can keep. So you occupy an unblocked edge rusher, and then it's a bubble to the outside. We even ran it in the Seminole Showcase with DJ.
Yeah, we've run it numerous times,
Yeah. They run that. They run plays off of that. It's all the base same thing. I think we're looking in a mirror a little bit this weekend.
Ideal for a group as experienced as this one is up front. I mean, absolutely ideal. Farmer has seen this a million times, in terms of practice reps.
Yes.
Jackson has seen this now. We run it a lot. Florida State's going to run that a lot, I think, along with QB power. You're going to see a ton of that.
Which is
DJ,
what Haynes does.
Which is what Haynes does. So to me, the fact that we're running so many similar concepts and this defense has seen it, the difference is Georgia Tech, you could argue, has seen their offense run by Florida State. Well, great. Who has the better athletes?
Right.
We do. Florida State has the better athletes on defense. Florida State has the better players and the greater depth on defense. If this is a case where both sides understand what the other is doing, give me bigger, stronger, faster all day long. At the end of the day, all things being equal in terms of the knowledge of the game and what they're looking at, if I've got the bigger, stronger guy, I'm going to win. And Florida State has better players.
Yeah, and then the other part of it is, again, I said the onus is going to fall on different players at different times. They're going to pick on an inside linebacker or a slot corner or a safety or an edge rusher. They're going to choose the guy that they don't want to block or the guy they think they can fool. And you have to be, like I said in the first hour, it's almost you have to be ignorant to the scheme. You got to stay in your own world. I need to be here.
Yeah.
Because Georgia Tech will break out a play that you've seen a million times on film that goes to the right, and this time it's going to go to the left. And if you think that you can cheat for a tendency, you're going to be sorely mistaken, and they're going to hit an explosive play.
I remember when I was coaching junior football, 12 and 13-year-olds. And it's the hardest thing in the world is to get a kid, especially a kid, 12-year-old, to understand that you're the backside end, but they love a lot of counter, delayed counter, and they love to run reverses because they try to get kids to fall for tricks. And the hardest thing is when you tell a player, you don't have to go make a play. The best play you could make is to be home. Because if you're home, it's coming back to you. And your opportunities to make a big play.
That's a tackle for loss.
That's a huge play, right?
Yeah.
But you can't do it if your shoulders are turned to the line of scrimmage and all of a sudden you're looking to crash.
Yes.
And, that's an example with little kids. But I think it holds true at every level of football. A defensive player wants to be the aggressor, wants to bring the attack to the offense as frequently as possible. They want to play downhill. They want to be violent at the point of attack. And you can get caught up in doing something other than your job because of this desire to make a play, to get your hands on a ball carrier. Florida State has to stay home here.
Well, and the other part of that, though, is it's such a fine line because you can't be timid either. You have to be aggressive within your assignment. And if you're timid, you're going to be on your heels, and out of nowhere, you're going to have a center or a guard that's right up on you and is going to seal you and is going to put you on your ass. So that's the key here, is that within your responsibility, you have to be aggressive, but you can't be thinking about somebody else's job, and you can't be thinking about glory. You've got to be very selfless in the situation. They do it like you're talking about. The jet motion is in their offense a whole lot. It's a decoy an awful lot of the time.
Right.
But sometimes it's not. They've got a guy just like Jalen Lucas. Eric Singleton is a former walk-on for them. That he had been talking about this camp, but he had a big play against Georgia as well last year. He's sub-10 500-meter dash speed.
Right.
I mean, so if you are Earl Little or Kevin Knowles in that situation, that's your assignment, and you're caught looking at, because you think Jamal Haynes is going to get the ball on a standard run, you're one step too late for a 10 300-meter dash guy. He's gone. He's out the gate. So that's the other thing that Adam Fuller doesn't want to have to do, is bring safeties closer to the line of scrimmage, because he wants them to be the safety net. In case there is a mistake, I've got Shaheem Brown or Devontae Brown or Conrad Hussey who can at least clean up the mistake, and it's a gain of 12. It's not a gain of 40 or a touchdown.
The two teams, I think, I got a suspicion about this. It has to do with a lot of what you just described and first game jitters.
Yeah.
I think both teams are going to give up a big play early.
Yeah.
And then I think they're both going to settle down and be sound.
Okay.
And then we're going to see things slow down.
Okay, so that's exactly what happened last year against LSU with
exactly
experienced linebackers.
Yes.
That first play, they're misaligned. There was a communication error that happened, and it's a quick play to the left, and that quick play to the left goes for how many yards? They get over midfield.
Oh, yeah. It set up everything right off the bat. Yeah.
Yes.
And then we hunkered down in the red zone.
Those were experienced linebackers. That's the one thing about I know you like to talk about linebacker play, especially when linebacker play is not up to snuff. This is something that you are not afraid to bring up.
I talk about linebackers?
I think in this situation, even experienced linebackers are going to be made foolish with this offense. It's just the nature of it. You've got too many things to consider, and in some situations, it's just not fair. Like I was going to put a clip of a goal line play they ran, 1st and goal, and it's this triple option mesh point thing that Haynes King scores on a rushing touchdown. I don't know. That's kind of not fair to the defense. I don't know if it was a blown assignment or
I'm glad it's on film.
Yeah, right.
So,
but I'm just saying, like there are times when it's this offense. If you are in 3rd and short, it's going to succeed. You've lost already to be in 3rd and 2.
That's the whole thing. Last year, Florida State couldn't win on 1st down, and Georgia Tech, the success behind their rushing attack last year was they surprised people with how frequently they won on 1st down.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be tried and true, there you go.
Yeah, right.
To the run game. You can only do it if you're winning 1st down.
Yeah.
You cannot be in 2nd and 10. You cannot be in 2nd and 11 and expect that you're going to remain faithful to the run game.
This is another thing that's similar to the offense from a few years ago. You think about formationally what we did last season. A lot of gun, a lot of shotgun.
Oh, sure.
A couple of years ago, first year of Jordan Travis when he took over as a full-time quarterback, a lot of pistol. There's a lot more pistol.
We did a lot of pistol, and I thought that
Georgia
for a
Tech
while
runs
there,
a lot of pistol.
They do. I thought for a while there that Mike was just going to be a pistol kind of guy, right? I mean, that's where offenses were going.
Yeah.
But I like that he's not. I like that he's got the same variety that he had when he came over from Memphis.
Yeah.
Listen, don't be surprised. I'm not giving anything away here, but I think there are going to be times where you see DJ under center. And
yeah, he knows how to do that.
Yeah, he knows how to do that, and I think you'll see some of it as well. And listen,
Man, he knows it all. He's going to be an excellent coach someday.
He will
if
be
he
because
wants
he's
to
been
be.
in so many offenses.
That Jonathan Smith offense is for real.
Well, it's a real good offense.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. He's the kind of guy that I think goes on to be a really good coach if he doesn't have a good NFL career, and he might have a good NFL career. This year's very important to him if he's going to have a good NFL career.
That's the other thing. I like this offense that Georgia Tech runs. It's similar to ours because it is multifaceted. It requires you to be disciplined. It requires you to think through your assignment and play loose and free as a defense, but it also has an element of downhill to it.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to be about this year. This is not going to look like Georgia Tech's attack is not going to look like last year's Mike Norvell offense. It's going to look like the offense from a couple of years ago. And the funny thing is, I think our offense is going to resemble what it was a couple of years ago.
I think Mike has a more enjoyable time and task of calling this offense than he had a year ago.
Yeah.
And people might ask themselves, they went undefeated, Jeff. How can that be so? I don't think he loved what they were a year ago. They were just good enough to overcome it. They had folks in the background that were able – folks in the background. I'm seeing this kid in the background. They had receivers that could win one-on-ones.
Yep.
They had a quarterback who played a ton and understood this offense thoroughly. And they had the ability to overcome their shortcomings. This group will not.
Yeah.
This group is going to have to be good at what they want to be good at, which is, again, running the football and setting things up off of that. But they have a chance to be, and Mike doesn't have to force feed anybody. He can just decide to call plays based on the looks he's getting. Nobody curries favor. I said it last hour. I'll say it again this hour. There is nobody that has, I think, the ego or the what for because of what they've already achieved on the field to walk over to DJ or Norvell and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want. Give me the ball. But nobody does. Keon Coleman could. In a way, Johnny Wilson could.
Yeah,
I'm not saying those guys did, but certainly it was kind of understood.
No, but you also want to be to a place where those conversations can be had. You want to have playmakers who can have that conversation.
Sure, I want a guy who's emerging who wants the ball. Yeah,
your program's in a good place if that's the case.
They want to win, yeah.
The thing I'm interested in, and I know today's been an awful lot about Tech, but when we're on offense, the one concern I have, and it's not about receiver, it's about the rotation of the running backs and allowing guys to get into a rhythm. We have so many backs. I hope we're not trying to show off how many different things that we have. And that's a trap that even a good coach can fall into. Well, Cam Davis runs these plays well, and Toafili runs those plays well.
Yeah.
And Kazai is here for this specialty, or we need Jalen in here for 3 plays a game, and it's going to be for this reason. Sometimes you got to let a guy get into the flow of a game. And if that's going to be Toafili or Roydell or whoever it is.
I believe that what we're going to see on Saturday is a whole lot of Toafili and Roydell.
Yes.
I think those two are going to be your two backs, and then some other guys will rotate in.
But damn it, we will sub at a lot of different – this is a philosophy there. Here at Florida State, this is a philosophy. You even saw it in the bowl game. I get it's an Oklahoma bowl game, and it's not a playoff game. But, man, we rotated those receivers like crazy. Yeah. And it looked like Jordan was having a hard time getting in rhythm with the guys he was wanting to throw to, other than Johnny, of course, who went for 2 bills.
I think it's more difficult to get in rhythm with receivers than it is with running backs. You can, the play's the play. If it's blocked up, you got to go make something of it.
But I think sometimes, I think Trey Benson was better the more that he carried the football. He was better in the second half for the amount of touches he got in the first. I think that it wasn't just the wear and tear. He also got more confident, and he was a guy whose vision got better as the game went along.
Yeah.
I want to know if week to week are we going to see Toafili gets 5 carries, Roydell 7, Jalen 4, Kazai Holmes 2. Is that the offense that we're going to be running here, or are you going to have 12, 10, and 3? I'd rather it be the latter, personally.
If we
as much as I love Kazai.
I'm just going to tell you right now, our buddy Ingram and Bud, they do a draft count for snaps. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't mind giving credit where credit's due. They do the draft count. Buddy, if Jalen Lucas gets 4 carries in a game, I'm going to be stunned. I'm just telling you that now. He better not get 4 carries. I see the point you're making, but there's no way you're going to get Jalen Lucas 4 carries in a game. I don't think. With what you have, with Kazaya and Roydell.
I know.
Why?
But we're going to want to get East-West.
That's a problem.
Well, we're going to want to get East-West, too.
Agreed, and I think Jalen Lucas will play a key part of the offense, but he's not going to carry the ball.
Well, you could call that Lucas, Brown, Benson in an end-around game and in some sort of game like that. where they get 3 to 5 carries a game. I think that's probably going to happen.
To me, Cam is going to take those 4 carries.
I hope he does.
And maybe more, especially if they begin to impose their will on
He's
people.
had a couple of good weeks.
They're going to run downhill well, and he's on the over. Yeah, if he can block in the pass game, it's going to be absolutely huge. But to me, 3 main characters in the run game. Everybody else gets a touch here and there. Maybe some guys like Singleton and others get a few opportunities when the game gets stretched out.
Yeah.
If you're up big, you can feed some of those guys on the lower end of the totem pole. I think your top 3 are going to be your studs. I would be surprised if those 3 weren't Williams, Toafili, Davis.
I think Keziah's come on towards the end of camp, though.
And also Keziah is probably
I think he's
the most multifaceted of the bunch.
With pass pro.
Yeah.
And he's got breakaway speed. It's not like he's
really reliable, and that helps out a lot. I'm with you on that. I think it's really important that you have a guy who knows what the hell he's doing.
So here's the fun part. I think we have one more break.
We do, and we're going to take it here right now and come back, wrap it up. It'll be the quickest last segment ever. We got caught up in the game, and it's fun. Chef Cameron Show broadcasting live from the old storehouse. There are a gazillion Noles here. This is so fun. Back for more. Wrap it up momentarily.
The Jeff Cameron Show live from Dublin. We'll be right back. Sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your phones are down, call Crown.
Your local news now.
The 15-year-old girl who was seriously hurt in a car accident last Wednesday has died. The teen was a passenger in a car with a 17-year-old driver who swerved to avoid rear-ending the car in front of it, causing a multi-car collision. The crash left the teen driver in critical condition. A man wanted for attempted murder is behind bars after an armed carjacking on Monday. Devin Jurger, 29 years old, is accused of stealing someone's vehicle at gunpoint on Palm Beach Street Monday afternoon and leading police on a high-speed chase. The 29-year-old was initially wanted for an attempted murder charge stemming from an incident that happened last week. TPD said they chased after the stolen car where Jurger hit another car. The crash did not cause major damage and no injuries were reported. The stolen car continued to flee into a rural area of Leon County. Where Florida Highway Patrol joined in on the chase, police then hit the bumper of the stolen car, causing it to crash. The man was arrested after the car crashed. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Probley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Daytime highs approaching 93 this afternoon under mainly sunny skies. Winds out of the southeast around 5 miles per hour. Lows level off around 72 tonight. Slight chance for storms. Thunderstorms likely tomorrow. Highs around 89. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 91 degrees.
I'll never forget
that moment.
As long as I live. My first call ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going out to drop water on the fires. Guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Howdy, folks. Jeff Cameron here to tell you about my friends at DexaFit Tallahassee. What is DexaFit, you might ask? Well, it's where you want to go if you're looking to elevate your health and fitness journey. DexaFit's exclusive services include AI-enhanced body scans, VO2 max fit testing, and RMR metabolism analysis to provide detailed insights into your body composition, cardiovascular fitness, and metabolic well-being. Sounds like a lot of science, but that's because it is. The most advanced science available. In fact, that's a good thing, right? DexaFit gives you immediate detailed insights about your body composition, provides a customized plan to improve on troubled areas, delivered in an easy-to-navigate mobile app so you can share the information with your trainer or even your doctor to find the most direct path to your peak health. Check out DexaFit Tallahassee, the most accurate and most state-of-the-art body composition scanning and fitness planning available. Located on Capitol Circle Northeast, directly next to Bumpus. Check them out online at DexaFit.com and tell them Jeff Cameron sent you. DexaFit Tallahassee. Know your body and transform your life.
Rise and climb, Seminole Nation. It's game week, and it's time to chop down some Yellow Jackets. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, live from Dublin. Sponsored by Crown Networking Consultants. Before your network's down, call Crown.
Getting set to wrap it up in the remaining 7 minutes that we have here, at least for today. At the old storehouse. And more Noles file in off of the streets of Dublin have themselves a nice cold Guinness and a shared celebration of Florida State football's return here in Dublin, Ireland. Game Saturday, you know that. Kickoff back where you guys are is at noon. For us, it'll be happy hour, which could be very dangerous.
Could be.
Very dangerous for Kirk Herbstreit and College Game
God.
Day. I can only imagine the sights and sounds
Just
as they
don't
get
go.
set to do this.
People will go, but just don't go.
Oh, they're going to
spend more time in a pub. Why would you sit out there to watch the back of the head of Reese Davis, Desmond Howard,
Again,
Kirk Herbstreit
I don't
when you
know.
could be in a pub? A beautiful pub that's been around for 400 years.
I agree with you, but I also don't know. They say City Center is where they're getting set up.
Okay.
Well, where? I don't know where you could set this up. I have been all over City Center, Dublin. I have walked these streets.
Well, McAfee's taking the bullets for him the first day because he's doing a Friday show, I think. So you'll know on Friday where they're set up.
Well, and they won't kill him because he didn't jump on the bandwagon with that
Kinda
stuff.
did, but not on that level.
Not
on that level.
No. And he'll do whatever he's going to do. But yeah, so Saturdays, I got to tell you, I'll be very surprised if there's much access to that set.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, I would think they would have that kind of roped off, and you would go from there. But it's going to be fascinating to see.
Could you imagine, though? I mean, look, Knowles fans, if you're on the fence, you're in Dublin. You paid a lot of money to come to Dublin. Do you want to spend time standing behind somebody and watching the back? Like, we love the people that are here, that are watching us talk about Knowles sports. But you know what happens 20 minutes into the show? Everybody starts swigging some Guinness, and they're having their own conversations, and they're making memories for a lifetime. That's what it's about. It's not about waiting for the picks segment of College Game Day in Dublin. To each their own. But just come here. The people are friendly. Meet the people. See the businesses. Walk around here. The food's delicious. All of it.
Well, you and I agree on this wholeheartedly. And again, I want Florida State, who was made a sympathetic figure after getting screwed by the snub, to not do anything to, I guess, further alienate the rest of college football from what we are as a fan base and the class that we've exuded through all of this. I know that you have people on Twitter. Twitter is a cesspool of nonsense. And I get that there's stuff on there that is not representative of any fan base or group of people. So I don't look at stuff like that because I hear people say, oh, gosh, you should see FSU Twitter. No, I don't. I don't need to see anybody on Twitter. I mean, we do our things. We promote our events. Yeah. I'll make a post here or there. Gone are the days where I'm interacting all that often with folks there over on X. I don't really care to for a lot of reasons. But the point would be, after that thing occurred, let's just move on and let it be about us. Let it be about who we are and what we do and how we respond. The last thing on earth you need is somebody coming across, a fan base coming across, it's a bunch of lunatics who are going to incite violence or something like that. And I don't think that's going to happen, by the way.
No, I don't
think it's going to happen. But listen, they screwed us. We know it.
My whole thing is don't ever forget that. When they pal around in a year or two with us, don't forget it.
Always punch up, guys. Always punch up. You know, listen, it's beneath us now to do that.
All right, so the thing I was going to ask when we were really locked into the back and the forth, that happens once a week during game week, sometimes more.
Yeah.
But
hey, buddy, tomorrow's Thursday. It's almost time for football.
It's redemption day on
We're
Thursday
getting
tomorrow.
Really close. I know it is.
You're going to have some week zero wagers?
GD games.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So it's 3rd and 3 with our offense. What personnel's out there? What do you call? We're on their 45.
I don't think it's double tights. I think you bring in the extra offensive lineman and you give DJ a chance to run pass. It's an RPO. It's
their 45-yard line. Are you calling 2 plays?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm getting it on third down because I'm rolling him out and he's got the option.
You're going to roll him out. Okay.
I'm rolling him out and he's either going to throw an easy little dump off. I'm going to put the linebacker in conflict or the corner in conflict. And if you don't come up to make a play on him, let him. You ain't tackling him for less than 3 yards.
Well, yes. If you're going to go for it on 4th and 3, because you got to assume an incompletion, right? But you can get aggressive. It's almost like being in 2nd and short. As my post-show Guinness has arrived.
So let me just point out that a very kind gentleman.
God,
it
doesn't get old.
It doesn't get old.
And thank you for not dripping on all of our
cheers
stuff.
to you, cheers to you.
Get your beer in the shot. There you go. Cheers. All right.
Yay! Now we have to wait till after the show. We're close.
We're close.
It'll
It
happen
is
in mere
so
seconds.
beautiful. It's going to settle perfectly just at the end of the show.
I think old friend John, who's an FSU film school grad, may have just spilled something everywhere.
Oh, it happened.
Okay.
All right. That's why we protect the equipment. So it's almost like 2nd and short on a 3rd and 3 situation.
I think so when you have a quarterback that size, yeah.
But my point would be, okay, let's do it this way. It's 4th and 2. Now what do you call? What's your personnel? What do you call?
I like that predicament.
And it's 2. It's not a long 2. It's at most 2 yards. It could be, 1 yard, 2 feet.
I think we will have established a power running attack for much of the game at that point, and I'm running play action.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
But I got brass ones as a coordinator.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm not afraid. I'm gonna get a situation where I'm gonna throw the football.
Oh man, you're feeling it today.
I'm throwing the football on 4th and 2.
All right.
We're running play action. You're gonna suck up. I'm gonna have a little dump to Kyle Morlock, and that's gonna be that.
Well, you'd want your second tight end in that situation.
Yeah, you want Landon Thomas
maybe
out there, perhaps. Yeah, I'm doing it.
Director Matthew put up the heater. He put up the heater.
Did he?
That was my reaction. You're calling play action.
I'm running play action on 4th and 2.
You can put that up there again, Director. It's okay.
Matthew, I'm scoring a touchdown on this play. There's coordinator Cameron.
Me.
That's coordinator Cameron.
No. That's coordinator Lang.
I know.
Yes, that's coordinator Cameron.
Yeah.
Coordinator Lang is the other one. He's on the headset going. He just called what? Because I think you finally have the luxury that you could go run left. You don't have to get fancy. It's a quarterback run. It's a traditional run. You run behind Washington and Richie effing Leonard. You go, yes.
I have told you that the game, where I think about where this has gone. Unless you have some nonsense like the tush push, there's nobody you can't. With the modern game, they bring in 350-pound fat asses that clog everything up. You don't get a push, even with great offensive lines. You don't get a push. And now you're pissed off because you had your quarterback lean for 1.5 yards, and he didn't get it. You run play action off of that, everybody's going to suck up.
Yeah. Okay, you might have brass ones. I'm removing the other guy's manhood because I'm saying that this is what is happening.
You're banging your head against an iron wall. You're not getting through. I'm telling you. No, there might be times where you just overwhelm people. Is that seconds? Okay. Good work. Good work,
He's
Matthew.
calling play action.
Appreciate you. We're throwing the ball, boys. Touchdown, Knowles. We'll be back at the old storehouse.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Go Knowles.